Bitcoin is one of the advantages of Bitcoin is that it's a global asset. It's not controlled by anyone. It's self-custodial, can't be diluted. And so anytime you have dysfunction in some of these major markets, these major currencies, it does over time feed into the Bitcoin narrative. I think what really kind of contributes to Bitcoin's next bull run is not something like this necessarily. It's one of a couple things. It could be the spot ETF approval. If we get one of those, that's a new demand source. But the metric that Bitcoin is historically most correlated with is global liquidity. If you, for example, were to have the central bank intervene on these bond market situations, kind of like how they had to intervene back in March on the banking system, whenever you get that kind of liquidity intervention, that's when Bitcoin's likely to do very well. That is very responsive to that historically, and I think it probably would be again. So that's the kind of thing more I'm looking forward to what's going to propel Bitcoin's next bull run. But all these kind of narratives around the margin, I do think feed into the longer term narrative of Bitcoin.
Lyn Alden, a prominent economist, often operates quietly in the financial world, despite her remarkable expertise. She is a figure who deserves far more recognition than she receives. When considering the foremost asset for the future, Lyn Alden's spotlight shines on Bitcoin. For those who may not be familiar with her, Alden is a seasoned investment strategist and financial analyst, well versed in the intricacies of macroeconomics and equity analysis. She's not only a theorist but also a practitioner, serving as the founder of Lyn Alden Investment Strategy, a distinguished financial advisory firm. Her impressive track record is a testament to her deep knowledge and the respect she commands in the industry. While Lyn Alden is known for her meticulous research and analysis, she typically refrains from making specific price predictions. However, during her recent appearance at the Swan Bitcoin conference, she did offer some valuable insights into Bitcoin's future trajectory. Alden's perspective revolves around the possibility of Bitcoin reaching a six-figure valuation within the next 2 years. This perspective is grounded in her extensive understanding of the cryptocurrency and its broader economic implications, further cementing her reputation as an authoritative voice in the financial world. Alden's cautious optimism about Bitcoin's potential price appreciation hints at the transformative power of cryptocurrencies in the evolving financial landscape. Her insights are invaluable not just for investors but also for anyone interested in understanding the dynamics of digital assets and their role in shaping the future of finance.
No, I'm saying that at $27,000, I think it's an attractive price when looking back several years from now.
You mean to buy it?
To buy it,
Okay,
yes.
it's not your price forecast.
No, no, I think this is a good accumulation zone. And it's basically saying that I'm bullish with a multi-year time frame, but a multi-month time frame is mostly going to be governed most likely by liquidity or things like spot ETF approvals or denials. There's all these kind of things that just can throw curveballs and change. If we do get kind of a bond yield spike and a dollar spike and a liquidity problem, Bitcoin could go down a few $1,000s again. You know, who knows? So I don't really trade it on a week by week or month by month basis, but I do think looking back 2 years from now or so, I do think that 27,000 is an attractive entry price. And then you just have to manage your volatility around that. So I mean, if you're an 80-year-old retiree, you know, you have to manage that volatility that Bitcoin has compared to if you're a younger investor. And of course, you also have to manage how much have you looked into Bitcoin, how much have you studied Bitcoin versus are you just looking at a price chart? Because I would argue that the more you understand it, the more you kind of naturally want to have exposure to it, but maybe not for everyone.
Right. Okay. So if you're saying that getting in at 27,000 in 2 years' time is going to look like a good idea, begs the question, where do you see Bitcoin price in 2 years' time? For the number go up, people that always like to hear a price forecast.
So conservatively, I expect it to probably be double by let's say late 2025. So, you know, a little over 2 years from now.
So that still wouldn't hit its all-time high.
Yeah, I think that's the conservative level. I think the range of outcomes, like 6 figures, would not surprise me at all. Generally, what we see is that if you look at measures of global liquidities, and we can define that as global broad money supply in dollar-denominated terms, right? So that comes down to how strong or weak the dollar is relative to other major currencies, and how quickly are their broad money supplies expanding. Bitcoin is highly correlated with that metric. So generally speaking, when money supplies are going up very quickly or the dollar is weakening, generally Bitcoin's in one of its major bull run. That's historically what's been the case. Whereas when the dollar is strengthening, when global liquidity is tighter, when we have quantitative tightening, when we have these kind of attempts to rein in, you know, this inflation, that's when Bitcoin has a bear market and then a big consolidation market. And so again, the next 6 months, liquidity, pretty hard to predict, but I would very much expect that within the next 2 years, we're probably gonna have another positive liquidity cycle. I would say that it's very hard for them to manage things so tightly for another 2 years. And so if we do get that another positive liquidity cycle, I would expect to be very favorable for Bitcoin, but there's an inelastic supply. There's a potential spot ETF. There's how much liquidity are we going to get? There could be trend changes in certain countries, for example. Maybe a lot of people in India, for example, maybe Bitcoin starts catching on there. Maybe it doesn't, right? So there's these outside variables that could really change Bitcoin being at say 50,000 or 200,000. And so I would expect that in the next cycle, the next, say, 2-3 years, I would very much expect to reach new all-time highs. 2 years specifically, conservatively, I would say I'd be surprised if we're not significantly north of here. That's why I said 50,000 as what I would consider kind of a conservative target, but it could comfortably be in the six figures. And I think that rather than thinking with specific price levels, the way that I approach this is this network and is this asset more attractive than other things I can buy on a multi-year time frame? And my assessment for Bitcoin is that it is. It's still, on a risk-adjusted basis, one of the things I definitely want to have exposure to, not to be all in on, but to continue to have significant exposure on.
While maintaining exposure to gold as well?
Yes, I'm also long gold, I'm long T-bills, I'm long energy producers, energy transporters, and then a variety of other stocks too, kind of growth at a reasonable price, equities, certain international equities, real estate exposure, all that's been tricky lately, of course, but I personally maintain a diverse book of assets. The one that I think is the most dynamic, the most interesting over the next multi-year time frame would be Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And in addition to owning the asset, I also do some venture capital work in the space. So I work with Ego Death Capital, and part of why I'm bullish is we see the pipeline of startups out there or companies expanding and new ideas. And so we see the kind of the things that are on the horizon, not just for this cycle, but for the next cycle.
We are fortunate to be privy to a wealth of knowledge from one of the financial world's brightest luminaries, Lyn Alden. Her perspective on Bitcoin, underpinned by her profound understanding of macroeconomics and equity analysis, is a compelling and pivotal voice that every discerning investor should earnestly heed. Her insights carry the weight of a distinguished career spent at the forefront of financial analysis, making her a revered authority in the field. Whether you're just encountering Lyn Alden for the first time today, discovering her astute observations, or if you've been a dedicated follower of her work for an extended period, relishing her thoughtful takes on Bitcoin's potential, your engagement in this conversation is paramount. Lyn Alden's mastery of the subject matter is an invaluable asset, providing an informed perspective on the evolving landscape of cryptocurrency. Her insights not only cater to seasoned investors but also serve as an educational beacon for anyone keen on unraveling the intricacies of digital assets and their broader implications in the ever-changing financial world. In the dynamic world of finance, Lyn Alden's vision adds depth and richness to the ongoing discourse. It's a testament to the vital role she plays as a thought leader in deciphering the complex interplay of economic forces and digital currencies. As you reflect on her insights, we wholeheartedly encourage you to share your thoughts and reactions in the comments below. Your engagement is a valuable contribution to the ongoing exploration of the financial world's intricate landscape. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these two awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.